Now we're going to use the volume of our competitors to determine the sizes of our cereal box. But let's start with a practice. So we know our volume is 169.75 inches cubed. So if we wanted to make a perfect cube, we're going to start with that. We know that the volume of a cube equals let's do height times width times depth. So I can replace this value for this. 169.75 inches cubed equals height times width times depth. Now, you are going to be able to find an ideal size for a cube if you take the cube root, which is something that you haven't got to. Basically, you find three of the same number that multiply into 169.75. Now, you won't do this for your project necessarily, but you can open up the internet, say cube root of 170, 5.54. So if I say 5.54 inches times 5.54 inches times 5.54 inches, it should be this answer. Let's check with our calculator, okay? The way you would check is you take your volume, 169.75, and you can divide it by 5.54. Now, we've already done one of these. Check. Let's try another one. Divide it by 5.54. 5.53. So, you can use these dimensions to create your cube. Here's my cube. If I were to build a cube that was 5.54 inches tall, 5.54 inches wide, and 5.54 inches deep, it would be the same volume as my cereal box. That's 12.125, 8 inches, and 1.75. Let's try this a different way. 169.75 inches cubed equals. At this point, what I'm going to do is invent some numbers for my height, my width, and my depth, and I'm going to see what comes up. I'm going to do that now. So I decided to make my object 8 inches tall, 4 inches wide, and now we need to determine the depth. So how do we do it? Easy. You're going to divide numbers on both sides. Let me show you. If I divide this by 8 inches and this by 8 inches, we're going to cancel this out, and we're left with 4 inches times depth equals, I go to my calculator, 169.75 divided by 8. And I round up. 21.22 inches. Now, do the same thing. Oh, inches squared. Divide 4 inches from this side and 4 inches from that side. Cancel, cancel. And I go to my calculator. Clear it out. 21.22 divided by 4. Okay, so 5.305 inches equals depth. I have now determined that value, and now I can create an orthographic projection. An orthographic projection by simply using these dimensions, 5.305 inches, 4 inches, and 8 inches. The process is the same for a cylinder. I'm going to continue with a cylinder in my next video.